The easiest way to identify if somebody is going to betray you or not is simply based on, are they strong or weak? On a long enough time frame, weakness will betray you. Every single time I have ever been too gracious to a weak person, I was betrayed. If you are friends with somebody weak, they will betray you. And it doesn't matter what they have a weakness for. If they have a weakness for gambling, they will steal your money. If they have a weakness for women, they'll try and sleep with your ex. If they have a physical weakness, then you cannot rely on them. So one of the best things about being rich is curating your life absolutely. And when you curate your life, by extension, you have to curate the people you spend time with. It's very difficult for you to keep the exact same people you currently spend time with and change your life. Because you either have to elevate these people along with you, many of which are not capable of elevation, or you would have to suppress certain qualities within these people, even if you believe it's for their own good, and you would be resented for it. So when you change your life, the people you spend time with has to change. But I will argue that when you become monumentally wealthy, and every single person who is tuning in right now, I believe has the potential to be extremely important and extremely wealthy. I believe in you, which means your mind is susceptible to my lessons. And I explain to you very openly and honestly how to win in the world, because I am a winner. When you are broke, you are forced to exist amongst people you don't want to exist amongst, to talk to people you do not particularly like, to work with people who do not agree with you. When you are poor, you are forced to interact. But when you become the A side of life, when you're at the absolute upper echelon, you can set the world on fire and ignore them. It doesn't matter. Your money is secure, your family is secure, your life is secure. It doesn't matter how mad people get at you, and it doesn't matter that you do not interact with these people. So I have some standards for who I talk to and why. And one of those standards is in relation to strength. And I'm gonna, from a position of authority, because I don't owe you any kind of explanation, explain to you why I do not like weak people. If you're weak and you're trying to get stronger, that's forgivable. But the people who remain weak or who pretend that physical strength is not important are the worst people. So we're gonna talk about what I have in my experiences from weak people, what happens when you interact with weak people, and what I would predict for the future based on my previous experiences. And I hope you can all learn something about this, and hope you can learn something and curate your circle and curate your life accordingly. The simple explanation for why I have a disdain for weak people is that they are liars. And anybody inside of your internal circle should never be a liar. You can have people who disagree with you. You can have people who perhaps do not share your worldview, but they should at least be honest, because lying is treachery. And weak people are always lying to themselves. So how can you expect them to tell you the truth? Let's analyze that again. If somebody is constantly lying to themselves, how can you expect them to be honest with you? They lie because their entire worldview and all of their self-esteem is built on a lie. Lies are all they know. Weak people will pretend that strength is not important. This is a huge leap. This takes incredible code. They say we don't live in the caveman days. You're right, we don't. It doesn't matter, but it does matter, and we're going to discuss why it matters. But the fact that they will bend reality to avoid them having to put in some effort is actually a huge red flag. When I see somebody who is not strong and not interested in getting strong, I know that their word doesn't mean anything because they've been lying to themselves their entire life. So I don't trust them. Another reason I do not trust them: the forces which are externally applied by your enemies and by life, meaning they are likely to betray you. If your friend is strong and he is dragged into a police interview, he is less likely to bend, break, or sell you out than if he was weak because a weak person is afraid of persecution. A weak person is afraid of consequences. So a weak person is more likely to bend and break in the scenario as opposed to a strong person. A strong person knows they can handle. They understand that being honorable will be rewarded karmically by God, and they can handle the consequences of doing that. If you can't handle the consequences of being honorable, how can you ever be expected to act honorably? So weak people are great when everything is great, but they are useless when times get hard. And ask yourself, do you want friends who are great when things are great, or do you want friends who are there when times are hard? If your life's already going well and everything's going great, what do you need them for? You want to go drinking? You want to party? You want to laugh? You want to be a bunch of clowns and achieve very little? Because when times are going well, when everything is perfect, that's when you enjoy the hedonistic side of life. You don't grow as a person. Often you don't achieve so much. You're only achieving and growing as a person during the most difficult times in your life. When things are going perfectly, that's when it's all just a clown show. Do you want friends who are capable clowns, but are completely useless in a war? If you do, then perhaps you are that type of person, because birds of a feather flock together. If you're the kind of person who thinks it's okay to have friends which are only useful during the best times of your life for entertainment, and provide no utility during the worst times in your life, then perhaps you are one of those types of people. Another reason I don't like weak people is they're broadcasting to the world that they lack discipline. Because the great thing about strength is that it's actually very easy to achieve. You don't need any fancy program. You don't need any fancy lesson. You need to pick something up and put it down over and over until you project strength. Truthfully, anybody knows what it takes to get strong. So let's analyze as professionals. If everybody understands what it takes to get strong, and they understand that they are viewed differently for being strong, and that they are viewed in a positive light for being strong, and still refuses to become strong, they are telling you that they lack dedication. They lack the motivation required to do hard things. And that when the going gets tough, they quit. That's what they are saying to you. And you can instantly see it, whether they want to say it or not. That's what they broadcast permanently. It doesn't matter if it's a business discussion. It doesn't matter if it's a fitness discussion. It doesn't matter. When you see a big, strong man, you know he has at least the qualities of dedication. You know he is prepared to push past a certain point where most people would quit. You know he's the kind of person who understands how important it is to be seen in a certain way, so they're protective of their reputation, that they're proud of themselves. If I was obese, saying the exact same things I was saying to you, you wouldn't listen. You are here because you know I understand the tenets of strength, and I understand the tenets of discipline. In your circle that is struggling with an addiction, as a good friend, perhaps you can try and help them. But if they continue to struggle with this addiction, if their mind is so weak that they are controlled by this substance, whatever it is, will they sell you out for this substance sooner or later? Why are you trying to help this person and have this monumental liability near you? If I had somebody near me who was depressed, could I trust them? Could I trust them if things got hard? Could I trust them with money? Do you think they're going to do the right things for me and my life and our mission? Can you trust somebody who cannot control their own mind? There are people out there which are so mentally weak, they will think of a thought, and that thought will destroy them. They will have a thought that they create in their own mind themselves. It's in their head. And instead of turning it off or fixing it, they will allow it to fester to the point where their body and their life degrades, and they will be defeated by their own thought. Can you trust somebody who is that weak? I would argue, over knowledge, you want intention and work ethic. If you said to me, Andrew, we have to do something difficult. We have to become marine biologists. This person is already a marine biologist or has a good knowledge of marine biology, but is overweight and lazy. This person knows nothing, but is a professional fighter and all he's ever known is hard work. I'd choose the hard worker. We can catch up on the knowledge. Over time, the hard work compounds. That's why I've never lost. I've launched companies I know nothing about. Elon has put rockets in space. He knew nothing about rockets, but he works hard. Hard work over knowledge in all ways, all the time. So when you find people who are not prepared to work hard, what does that say about them? Do you need them in your life at all, ever? Life is risk reward. As a professional, and I try and explain this to people all of the time, you have to make decisions for risk reward. If there is a 10% reward for said action and a 5% risk, then it's worth it. If there is a 4% reward and a 5% risk, it is not worth it. So risk reward. A weak friend is giving you what? Entertainment. Well, the world's pretty entertaining now. You should be very busy. You shouldn't need entertainment. So the reward is quite low, but the risk is monumental. Because if these people decide to betray you, you'll be monumentally surprised by how far a weak man will go for a little bit of money or a little bit of risk.